States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll go ahead and get a roll call vote, please. Supervisor Kubicki, could you sign in? Supervisor Ron Frederick.
Anything from Grady or Leah? Oh, Leah's
Oh, Leah's on it. Grady's coming in right now. Grady's coming through. We'll wait for him so we can.
We'll wait till you sign in. Not there. Get over there. Supervisor Blau is excused, and we have the rest of the supervisors present. We'll go ahead and open it up to citizen comments. Any citizen comments? Any citizens to speak this evening? Citizen comments? Seeing none, I'll close citizen comments and move on. I have a couple announcements. We have two of our youth and governance here tonight, Andrew Corley from Finance and Administration and Katie Pollack from Joint Services are here. And an announcement, the economic statements that you were emailed by our county clerk are due this Friday. So please get them printed, sign them, scan them, get them back to her, run them down here, however you need to do it.
We're all notaries too if they need a notary.
Oh, and they are notaries if you need them to sign off on it. Anything else? No? Okay, I hope everyone had a good holiday season. We'll go ahead and move on. Supervisor reports. Supervisor Boyd Frederick, you have the floor.
Thank you. At the next legislative meeting, we will be Skyping with the WCA, talking over their legislative agenda for the 2017-2018 legislative session in Madison. And for members of the Judiciary and Law Committee, I will be chairing the meeting tomorrow evening.
Thank you. Anything else? Supervisor Elverman, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The Facilities Committee minor report from last December. We haven't had our January meeting. That'll be next Monday. We had another major retirement in facilities. Gary Sipsma, his last official day was today. So that's two of our key players, but with the planning that the county executive has done, we've had the replacement in place, working with Mr. Sipsma for this past year. So we will be coming to you in January here with the resolution for that, for Clement taking over that position. Golf, we made it until the 29th of November at Brightondale, I believe, and into December at Pets. They are closed now, naturally, and working on preparing for next season, but preliminary reports show us having another profitable year, and we have become accustomed to that, and the staff has done a wonderful job getting us in that position. All the departments, facilities and highways, parks, are all working on the launch for 2017, and by that I mean all the projects that I've been reporting on that are culminating and being finished off. I'll give you a full report on the upcoming projects here at our next meeting. Major project for the whole county for this year, Brookside. We were fortunate enough to get that all under roof and closed in for the winter construction season. Supervisor O'Day was there today and told me it's just a mass of workers, and we were also able to get the first lift on the parking lot and road in the rear, so cleanliness is there, and we should be on schedule. We should be in fantastic shape by spring. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Elverman. Supervisor Boyd Frederick, you have the floor again. Now you turn it off? Okay. Seeing no other supervisor reports. Do you have something? Oh. Supervisor Dodge, you have the floor.
Okay, I'd like to report that I attended the recent local emergency planning committee, and Cynthia Johnson from our health department gave a detailed report on the decommissioning of the Zion nuclear plant being on schedule. The nuclear waste is being stored in stainless steel containers surrounded by concrete on a pad in Zion. Federal government had planned on putting them in Yucca Mountain, but that had been, after spending billions of dollars, that had been turned down. So they're going to be stored in Zion until we only know when. Also, there was no spills reported in Kenosha County, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Supervisor Dodge. Any other reports? Seeing none, County Clerk.
County Executive Appointments, 27, Cynthia Johnson to serve on the Kenosha County Local Emergency Planning Committee.
Refer to Judiciary and Law.
28, Catherine Bothy to serve on the Kenosha County Civil Service Commission.
Refer to Judiciary and Law.
29, Gabriel Nudo to serve on the Brookside Board of Trustees.
Refer to Human Services.
30, Charles Burmeister to serve on the Kenosha County Veterans Service Commission.
Refer to Human Services.
31, Nancy Kemp to serve on the Kenosha County Library System Board.
Refer to Finance and Administration.
32, Ellen Kupfer to serve on the Kenosha County Library System Board.
Refer to Finance and Administration.
33, Linda Weiss to serve on the Kenosha County Board of Health.
Refer to Human Services.
34, Ronald Frederick to serve on the Kenosha County Commission on Aging and Disability Services.
Refer to Human Services.
35, Juan Torres to serve on the Kenosha County Commission on Aging and Disability Services.
Refer to Human Services.
36, Leah Blau to serve on the Kenosha County Human Services Board.
Refer to Human Services.
37, Ellen Kupfer to serve on the Kenosha County Human Services Board.
Refer to Human Services.
Old business, 26, from the Planning Development Extension Education Committee, an ordinance proposed amendment to the Kenosha County General Zoning and Shoreline Floodplain Zoning Ordinance, amending the floodplain overlay zoning district boundaries based revisions to the flood profiles, made effective October 26, 2016 by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, through a letter of map revision. Decker, yes. Poole, yes. Skalitsky, yes. Gilmore, yes. Bostrom, yes.
Supervisor Decker, you have the floor.
Move ordinance 26.
I have a first by Supervisor Decker and a second by Supervisor Poole. Supervisor Decker.
This ordinance would revise the Kenosha County General Zoning and Shoreland Floodplain Zoning Ordinance to reflect revisions to the Floodplain Overlay Zoning District and Kenosha County Flood Insurance Study Report and Flood Insurance Rate Map. The revision is based on a hydraulic analysis of new topographic data for unnamed tributary number 1 to Hooker Lake. The Planning and Development and Extension Education Committee reviewed the text amendments at their meeting on November 9th, 2016, and recommended approval.
Thank you, Supervisor Decker. Are there any questions? Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
New business ordinance, first reading, 2 required. 31, from the Planning Development Extension Education Committee, an ordinance proposed amendments regarding NR 115 and the statutory language reflected in 1999 Wisconsin Act 9, 2011 Wisconsin Act 170, 2015 Wisconsin Act 55, 2015 Wisconsin Act 167, and 2015 Wisconsin Act 391. Decker, yes. Poole, yes. Skalitsky, yes. Gilmore, excused. Bostrom, yes. Ordinance 32, 2 required. From the Legislative Committee, an amendment of MCKC Chapter 2.054, County Board Rules of Procedure relating to placing items on the County Board agenda. Decker, yes. Poole, yes. Skalitsky, yes. Gilmore, yes. Bostrom, Gilmore, excused. Bostrom, yes. Oops, sorry, that's the wrong one. That's okay. It's in the wrong folder. From the Legislative Committee, Frederick, yes. Hallman, no. Berg, yes. Decker, yes. Franco, yes. Poole, yes. Skalitsky, excused. No, I'm all messed up. There's 27. Okay. Ordinance 27 from the Planning Development Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Seminoe Scott American Legion 361 owner, Reverend, Reverend Scott Keenan, St. Andrew Anglican Church agent, requests an amendment to the adopted land use plan map for Kenosha County 2035, map 65 of the comprehensive plan, from medium density residential to governmental and institutional, town of Randall. Decker, yes. Poole, yes. Skalitsky, yes. Gilmore, excused. Bostrom, yes.
Supervisor Decker, you have the floor.
Move ordinance 27.
I have a first by Supervisor Decker and a second by Supervisor Skalitsky. Supervisor Decker.
This property is located on the west side of County Highway W, Fox River Road, and the south side of the intersection with 314th Avenue in the town of Randall. The comprehensive plan amendment would allow a revision of map 65 of the comprehensive plan from medium-density residential to governmental and institutional. The town of Randall recommended approval of the request.
Thank you, Supervisor Decker. Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Resolution 28 from the Planning Development Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Seminoe Scott American Legion 361 owner, Reverend Scott Keenan, St. Andrew Anglican Church agent, requesting a rezoning from R3 Urban Single Family Residential District to I1 Institutional District, town of Randall. Decker, yes. Poole, yes. Skalitsky, yes. Gilmore, excused. Bostrom, yes.
Supervisor Decker, you have the floor.
Move ordinance 28.
I have a first by Supervisor Decker and a second by Supervisor Bostrom. Supervisor Decker.
This rezoning coincides with the previous comprehensive plan amendment and would rezone the property from R3 Urban Single Family Residential District to I1 Institutional District to allow for the operation of a church. The town of Randall recommended approval of the request.
Thank you, Supervisor Decker. Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Ordinance 29 from the Planning Development Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Keith W. Van Patten, owner, Kenosha County Planning Development and Extension Education Committee agent, request a rezoning from R3 Urban Single Family Residential District and B5 Whole Trade and Warehousing District to R3 Urban Single Family Residential District, town of Salem. Decker, yes. Poole, yes. Skalitsky, yes. Gilmore, excused. Bostrom, yes.
Supervisor Decker, you have the floor.
Move ordinance 29.
I have a first by Supervisor Decker and a second by Supervisor Skalitsky. Supervisor Decker.
This property is located on the north side of County Highway AH 89th Street, approximately 475 feet east of the intersection with State Highway 83, which is 368th Avenue in the town of Salem. The rezoning would move the business zoning from the property in compliance with a prior recorded agreement. The town of Salem recommended approval of the request.
Thank you, Supervisor Decker. Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Ordinance 30 from the Planning Development Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Brian Philotro and Gregory K. Dixon, owner, Brian Philotro, Antioch Road Business Center, DBA Countryside Storage Agent, requesting a rezoning from A2 General Agricultural District to B5 Wholesale Trade and Warehousing District, town of Salem. Decker, yes. Poole, yes. Skalitsky, yes. Gilmore, excused. Bostrom, yes.
Supervisor Decker, you have the floor.
Move ordinance 30.
I have a first by Supervisor Decker and a second by Supervisor Poole. Supervisor Decker.
This property is located on the south side of State Highway 50, 75th Street, approximately 1/3 mile west of the intersection with 265th Avenue in the town of Salem. The rezoning would allow for the development of a medium-sized warehouse rental units. The town of Salem recommended approval of the request.
Thank you, Supervisor Decker. Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Resolution 65 from Finance and Administration Committee, a resolution request to approve the appointment of Supervisor Steve Bostrom to the Kenosha County Housing Authority Board. Rose, yes. Ron Frederick, excused. Jeff Gantz, yes. Dodge, excused. Kubicki, yes. Esposito, yes. Retzlaff, yes.
Supervisor Rose, you have the floor.
I would move the appointment of Supervisor Bostrom to the Housing Authority Board.
Thank you, Supervisor Rose. I have a first and a second by Supervisor Gantz. Supervisor Rose.
Supervisor Bostrom is qualified to serve on this board. He succeeds Ronald Johnson. The committee approved him unanimously.
Thank you, Supervisor Rose. Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Resolution 66 from the Finance Administration Committee, a resolution request to approve the appointment of Mary Shook Krebs to the Kenosha County Housing Authority Board. Rose, yes. Ron Frederick, excused. Gantz, yes. Dodge, excused. Kubicki, yes. Esposito, yes. Retzlaff, yes.
Supervisor Rose.
On behalf of the committee, I would move resolution number 66.
I have a first by Supervisor Rose and a second by Supervisor Esposito. Supervisor Rose.
We are requesting the approval of the appointment of our county clerk to the Housing Authority Board. She succeeds Mr. Richard Gosling.
Thank you, Supervisor Rose. Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Resolution 67 from the Finance Administration Committee, a resolution approving the amendment of the Consolidated Kenosha County Revolving Loan Fund Program, Economic Development Revolving Loan Fund Manual. Rose, yes. Ron Frederick, excused. Esposito, yes. Retzlaff, yes. Dodge, excused. Gantz, yes. Kubicki, yes.
Supervisor Rose.
Move resolution number 67.
I have a first by Supervisor Rose and a second by Supervisor Retzlaff. Supervisor Rose.
This resolution deals with the County Revolving Loan Fund administered by Kenosha Area Business Alliance. The principal revision included within this resolution is to increase the maximum amount of loan from $740,000 to $1,500,000. The other revisions which are included in the resolution are mostly stylistic, such as updating the dates and that type of thing. The request is based upon the fact that the $740,000 was a figure that was determined a number of years ago when the fund was much smaller, and the current cap of $740,000 is too limited according to CABA. Many times they are involved in situations where $1 million or more is necessary to attract the particular business, and thus the $740,000 becomes a limitation to them. The fund itself is highly restrictive as to wage limitations, geographic location, and reporting. So the increase has a number of restrictions that have been imposed upon it. This is a request that is being made to us by the administration of CABA. The committee reviewed it with them and urges your approval this evening.
Thank you, Supervisor Rose. Supervisor Grady, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe Supervisor Rose answered my questions regarding this document and the changes. I do see it was revised in its date from January 2016 to November 1st, 2016, just the date of the document. And your comment is really, it is just the date revision and the amount of the increased 1.5 million, those are the changes?
Yes. The representative from CABA is here, Mr. Portilla. He can verify that, but the principal change, I say, is the money cap.
Okay. That satisfies my question. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Grady. Seeing no other lights, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Resolution 68 from the Human Service Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Julia Robinson to the Kenosha County Board of Health. Gable, yes. Hallman, yes. Poole, yes. Berg, yes. Blau, yes. Dodge, yes. Retzlaff, yes.
Supervisor Gable, you have the floor.
I move Resolution 68.
I have a first by Supervisor Gable and a second by Supervisor Hallman. Supervisor Gable.
This is approved Julia Robinson to the Kenosha County Board of Health. She was before the committee and is ably qualified.
Anything else? Is that it? Okay.
That's it.
Thank you, Supervisor Gable. Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Resolution 69 from Human Service Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Nina Taylor as the Director of the Kenosha County Division of Workforce Development. Gable, yes. Hallman, yes. Poole, yes. Berg, yes. Blau, yes. Dodge, yes. Redsloff, yes.
Supervisor Gable, you have the floor.
I move Resolution 69.
I have a first by Supervisor Gable and a second by Supervisor Berg. Supervisor Gable.
Nina Taylor was before our committee. She's worked at Workforce Development for years. She's a good fit. It was unanimous.
Thank you, Supervisor Gable. Supervisor Redsloff, you have the floor.
We put her under an extreme, excruciating interrogation, and one of the questions she didn't answer right is, what is the nickname of her college at the University of California, Irvine's team nickname? Anybody in this room know it?
Yes.
It's the Anteaters, and she knew it, so that's why I voted for her. Only reason. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Redsloff. Seeing no other lights, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Resolution 70 from the Planning Development Extension Education Committee, a resolution to appoint Supervisor Steve Bostrom to the Southeastern Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission. Decker, yes. Poole, yes. Skalitsky, yes. Gilmore, excused. Bostrom, yes.
Supervisor Decker, you have the floor.
Move Resolution 70.
I have a first by Supervisor Decker and a second by Supervisor Skalitsky. Supervisor Decker.
The Planning and Development and Extension Education Committee reviewed the appointment of Mr. Bostrom, Supervisor Bostrom, at their meeting on December 14th, 2016, and recommends approval of the appointment.
Thank you, Supervisor Decker. Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
71 from the Planning Development Extension Education Committee, a resolution regarding Summerall Scott American Legion 361 owner, Reverend Scott Keenan, St. Andrew Anglican Church agent, requests an amendment to the adopted land use plan map for Kenosha County 2035, map 65 of the comprehensive plan, from medium density residential to governmental and institutional, town of Randall. Decker, yes. Poole, yes. Skalitsky, yes. Gilmore, excused. Bostrom, yes.
Supervisor Decker, you have the floor.
Move Resolution 71.
I have a first by Supervisor Decker and a second by Supervisor Bostrom. Supervisor Decker.
This property is located on the west side of County Highway W, Fox River Road, and the south side of the intersection with 314th Avenue in the town of Randall. The state requires a resolution from the Planning Development and Extension Education Committee and an ordinance from the full county board to amend the comprehensive plan. This resolution would allow an amendment to the Kenosha County Comprehensive Plan for a change from suburban density residential to suburban density residential and medium density residential. The town of Randall recommended approval of the request.
Thank you, Supervisor Decker. Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Resolution 72 from the Public Works Facilities Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Lieutenant Thomas Gilly to the Kenosha County Traffic Safety Commission. Elverman, yes. Grady, yes. O'Day, yes. Gilmore, yes. Bostrom, yes. Franco, yes. Wambolt, excused.
Supervisor Elverman, you have the floor.
I move Resolution 72.
I have a first by Supervisor Elverman, a second by Supervisor Grady. Supervisor Elverman.
The County Traffic Safety Commission is naturally a very important commission. It's also an important item to have a qualified member of our police department on it. We're asking for this position for Lieutenant Gilly, and he will serve as the County Highway Safety Coordinator. He is succeeding Tom Podakis, and he will serve this without pay. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Elverman. Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Resolution 73 from the Public Works Facilities Committee, a resolution to dedicate right-of-way from parcels 8 and 13 for road construction and installation of storm sewer respectively. Elverman, yes. Grady, yes. Gilmore, yes. Wambolt, excused. Bostrom, yes. O'Day, yes. Franco, yes.
Supervisor Elverman, you have the floor.
I move Resolution 73.
I have a first by Supervisor Elverman and a second by Supervisor O'Day. Supervisor Elverman.
We have highway straightening project that we've been working on for a couple of years on Highway W, north of Highway F. Just about a straight right angle road. There used to be a home on that property, and we purchased that land. We own numerous parcels there. So what we're asking here is for us to approve, since the federal highway requirements require us to do, is to have an easement. So we are giving ourselves an easement off 2 of the parcels. And that's what we're asking for your approval this evening.
Thank you, Supervisor Overman. Seeing no lights, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Communications from Andy Ambula regarding future items scheduled before the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee.
Receive and file.
Summons and complaint 17, Brenda L. Pye, violation of civil rights.
Refer to Corporation Counsel.
Claims 18, Leroy Johnson, notice of intent to file a lawsuit.
Refer to Corporation Counsel.
19, Karen Marie McCune, vehicle damage.
Refer to Corporation Counsel.
20, Kirsten Prune, personal injury.
Refer to Corporation Counsel.
Supervisor comments. Supervisor Hallman, RE District meeting on community violence.
Supervisor Hallman, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's been a long day for me and I'm tired, so I'll make it quick. Roughly, I want to say it was a week and a half to 2 weeks before the most recent election that we had this past November. A group of people approached a house, knocked on the door. The person sitting on the porch next door informed those individuals that the person they were looking for was not home. Those folks then decided to leave. They made the decision to come back later and then shoot the next door neighbor for absolutely no legitimate reason whatsoever. As you can imagine, this scared many residents of my district, which is where this occurred. I got wind of this actually through my pastor and felt like it would be a very good idea the night before Election Day to have a town hall. Because when people are scared, the one thing that you do is you do not wait. You address their concern. And I felt like, as a leader, it would be appropriate for me to do so. So there was no press release, which is why you didn't see it in the Kenosha News, you didn't see it elsewhere, because I didn't want it open to all of the general public, and the time frame on it was very tight. So I passed out flyers face to face in district. And as one of the attendees to the town hall told me, she said, "Weren't you afraid that some of the troublemakers might see you?" I looked at her, I said, "I really hope so, because I want them to know. I want them to know that there are people here who are watching, who are willing to stand up and willing to defend, and who think that this is unacceptable." So yes, I hope they did see me and they know that we're paying attention. About 20 people showed up to that town hall. The conversation ranged from transportation to housing, access to jobs, unsupervised youth, the issue of sex offenders, drugs and gangs, and law enforcement. But there were 2 things that I was impressed by about this, and I just want to share this with you. Is at first, out of those 20 people who attended, they expressed no fear, because I did ask. And second, they were all committed to making it better. Nobody said that they wanted to leave. And this is the piece that really got me. Out of all of the conversations that we had over probably a 2-hour period, especially because we had talked about sex offenders, which a number of them reside in my district, I said to my constituents, I said, no matter who you are, where you've been, and what you've done, even though we may be disgusted and not like it, God knows that's the truth, a person is still entitled to the dignity and respect that the law and the Constitution allows. Madam Chair, my constituents agreed with that. I feel very, very fortunate to have people who are willing to stand up for their neighborhood like that, and think that I am such a person to be able to fight in front of, alongside, and behind them to do that. I want to let all of you know, and I think this is important for your information moving forward, certainly. I shared with the people who were in attendance that in my district, I do have KKK sympathizers. They don't take my literature and they don't like the fact that I show up at their door, but they're a constituent. You knock at everybody's door, that's what you do. I have an establishment in my district that routinely, several times throughout the year, has skinhead music concerts. It's actually not too far from my church. So I shared this with the residents of my district. So I'm sharing this with all of you to say this. I can deal with a lot on my own. In doing this job, I've had swords pulled on me, guns. I'm a survivor of abuse and assault. It takes a lot for me to be frightened. But there's a place where I draw the line, and that's at hate groups. Dealing with KKK sympathizers and skinheads is not a David Hallman responsibility. And as one of the few people of color on this board, I really need those of you sitting in this room to stand up. Because that's not a place where I can be successful in terms of fighting that battle. And there's a number of folks I know that for one reason or another feel very empowered in their hate. I don't want them to act. We've already had Judy Shepard in this community once. Some of you have probably heard of the James Byrd Matthew Shepard Hate Crimes Act. For those of you unfamiliar, James Byrd was a man in Texas that was literally tied to the back of a vehicle and dragged across the state. Matthew Shepard was a white gay man tied to a fence in Laramie, Wyoming, and left to die in the cold. Those incidents are embarrassing for communities. I know that because I talk to leaders in other communities that have had similar things happen. So I'm approaching all of you saying, there's a component of this that I can deal with, but there's a component of this that I can't. And I need all of you to stand up, because it could be me that ends up tied to the back of a pickup truck. It could be one of your loved ones. Maybe you have a niece or a nephew who's in the closet that somebody decides, I just don't like faggots, let's just get rid of them. That's real. That happens. And people will tank their job, they will tank their academic career, whatever it is they have going, to indulge in an act of hatred and violence. So because I have everyone of every stripe and every persuasion and idea living in my district, you're going to see two things. One of them is written, the other one is half written. You're going to see a resolution coming forward saying that we do not condone Islamophobia and violence and hate towards religious minorities. And you're also going to see a resolution asking the U.S. Senate to rescind, or rather to say no to the confirmation of Jeff Sessions as Attorney General for the United States. I really need all of you. I see some of you have checked out. I see some of you are just talking. I'm really serious about this. I have made peace, Madam Chair, with my maker, and I'm fully prepared to go. But a hate group is not how I want to do it. And honestly, from the way that I know many of you sitting here, I think you're better than to even allow this. So I know, at least I want to believe, that you'll speak out against this. And if you need help on how to do that, I brought with me a couple flyers, not flyers, but a document I put together as a compact on hate and violence. I haven't written the press release to accompany this yet, but one will be forthcoming. You can take it with you. You can sign it on the spot. We can have some conversation about it. But if you want some help as to how to get started to say no to this nonsense so your community doesn't jump off like a powder keg, I'm holding how you can do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Hallman.
Approval of the November 9th, 10th, and 15th, 2016 minutes by Supervisor Hallman.
Supervisor Hallman, you have the floor.
Motion to approve the minutes of November 9th, 10th, and 15th.
I have a first by Supervisor Hallman and a second by Supervisor Kamicki. Seeing no lights, no discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is approved. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I have a first by Supervisor Kabicki and a second by Supervisor Skalitsky. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.